So I've been trying to mess with the new exotic sniper rifle, the new SVD, and I told you guys in the video where I actually did a review on it on the main channel, I talked about how the recoil on this was pretty bad. So I needed to figure out what would be a viable way to still use this in case they don't adjust the recoil at all, right? And I'm currently on PC during the PTS, so this is not live. I know a lot of people keep asking when is this going live. This is a test server, guys. It's not even live on PC. It's just a test server on PC. So once it does go live, we will have to refarm everything. But what we're doing is we're testing out builds like this, testing out the exotics, so that way we can see if they need to be tweaked at all. And I still think this weapon needs a little bit of a recoil adjustment, just for the fact that SVD's got a huge nerf back when they were meta. If you guys don't remember, these SVDs in general were meta back when the first raid came out. They nerfed them and they definitely increased the recoil a lot. So when you do have to zoom in on them, it's pretty tough. So I figured, you know what, we need to raise the weapon handling, we need to raise the stability on the build, we need to make the build viable for you guys to actually try it and for me to actually enjoy it. So that's what we're about to do right now. I created a build that I felt that it was usable. It actually is pretty fun to use when you can land those shots. I honestly do like it because of the extra armor you get. So when you don't proc that headshot kill, you can see the blue stack, and that actually helps you survive, especially even if you're running a red build. The extra bonus armor you get definitely helps you out a lot. So that's what I definitely liked about it, and I think a lot of you guys will actually enjoy the build too. Now there can be a lot of different adjustments before this goes live, but if it goes live as is, this will be a good template for you guys to check out and you know make the adjustments you guys need to make in the build. But why don't we get into the build? So obviously we're running the new exotic SVD, the Dread Addict, and it comes with a talent full stop. And this talent actually is one of my favorite out of the exotics. I definitely think it's very viable and would definitely be something a lot of people would use if they tweak that recoil. And I've explained that in my first initial thoughts. Now the talent full stop, shooting enemies builds a stack of cap of 20 headshots, grant 2 stacks. Each stack grants 2% weapon damage and 5% headshot damage on reload. You clear all stacks and gain 5% of your max armor as temp armor for 10 seconds for each stack. So you can get a huge chunk of armor as you guys were seeing in that gameplay. Now when you do get headshot kills with the Dread, it restores all bullets in the magazine so you don't have to reload, and then that doesn't count as a reload, so you keep that weapon and headshot damage stack, and that's when it gets very, very impressive. Oh, and don't forget, you get 40% headshot damage because of the scope. You get 15% weapon handling, 10% stability, and then a 10% crit chance for the muzzle. But even just with that, you need to build around it to improve that weapon handling so it becomes a lot easier to control. So we are pairing this up with the Aces and Eights build, guys, and this is going to give us that 15% marksman rifle, 30% headshot damage, and then Dead Man's Hand. Obviously, after 5 cards are flipped, your next shot is amplified by 30%. Now, this could be either 4 shots, 3 shots, or 2 shots, depending on you have it. So for the mask, we have weapon damage, headshot damage, and if you notice, I don't even have a mod yet, so I can improve it by adding 10% more headshot damage on the build. And the reason why I don't have any of these guys is, remember, this is a test server, so I don't have all the mods unlocked. I don't have all the mods on my character. So yeah, this build, I will be telling you where you guys need to change the items you want to change. But yeah, you would want to put a 10% headshot damage mod there. So the next piece, we'll be talking about the chest piece, and this really is what makes the piece good, right? So we have an Araldi chest with marksman rifle, we have weapon damage. Now we have crit chance and hazard protection. Now what you want to do here is put 10% headshot damage and then put 8% weapon handling. Now with that gear mod slot, that's where you could put 10% headshot damage. Now the talent on this chest piece is what allows you to control the SVD, especially if you're on controller. This is probably going to be your go-to. What it does is it gives you weapon handling. It's increased by 45%. Yes, 45%. And I felt like this right here was the only way to truly control it, guys. And that's just me. It might be different for some of you guys. You pair that up with the weapon handling we already have on the build, 23%. That's a total of 68% weapon handling just to make this rifle usable, like worth it where you're able to get those headshots and land them, and it still pops a little bit. So it's still gonna be tough to use, but it's definitely manageable when you have this much weapon handling. Now, you can see, braced is the talent, guys. For the holster, you do wanna run another aces and eights. This is gonna give us our 2-piece, and obviously we're gonna have weapon damage and headshot damage. Now for the knee pads, we have weapon damage and weapon handling. Ideally, I would put headshot damage here, and then you could add weapon handling on the chest piece and the backpack. For the gloves, the same thing, weapon damage, headshot damage. Ideally on all the aces and 8 pieces, weapon damage, headshot damage. If you don't have weapon handling on at least a chest or backpack, recommend putting on one of the pieces. Now for the backpack, weapon damage, headshot damage. Instead of that hazard protection, weapon handling, and then perfect vigilance increases total weapon damage by 25%. Obviously taking damage disables this buff. And that's where you're gonna get a lot of your damage. And that's a Providence piece, which is gonna give us an additional 15% headshot damage. Like I said, on the chest piece and the backpack, there's 2 blue rolls, right? So obviously put that for weapon handling, put headshot damage stacked throughout the build, and then obviously on the knee pads, we can put weapon handling. So like I said, the build isn't complete because this isn't all my gear. This is just gear that is given to me. I'm able to tweak a couple of them, make them work, but I am missing a lot of the headshot damage mods that should be on all the pieces. But braced is the talent, guys. Braced, that 45% weapon handling makes a difference, and that's what's gonna allow you to run the Dread Addict. Now, even with that amount of weapon handling, I'm gonna tell you guys, it's still gonna be a little task to control. It definitely is a lot easier with having 68% weapon handling on the build. And I gotta say, I was running the specialization of sharpshooters, so that also gives you a little bit more target acquisition. And I'll tell you that with this build, it definitely makes the weapon more usable, more fun, and I actually like the talent. I like having that chunk of bonus armor. It's rare that you get some type of bonus armor with a red sniper build, so having it makes it fun, and that's why I think if they could tweak it just a little bit, we could probably have something a little bit more special, and maybe even allow us to not have to fully scope in would be cool too. But who knows? Let's see what they end up doing with this. And I am starting to like it a lot more than my first initial impressions once I added brace. But like I said, you literally have to sacrifice a whole chest piece talent just to make sure you can control this thing. So that's my one thing that I would like to see. Maybe give us a little bit of an adjustment to the recoil, and I'd actually be pretty fine with this. And maybe not make us scope in, right? Like, also, this doesn't work with the talent focus. For all of you guys who might ask that question, it doesn't work with it. It doesn't register as an 8-time scope, but it should, right? Because this scope definitely looks like it's more than 8 times. I may be wrong, but that's what it looks like to me. But that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this. Remember, these builds are all templates because they are so early on. This could definitely change, but this is how I found a way to make the exotic sniper viable. So hopefully this helps you guys out. If you guys thinking about using it in the PTS, if you're thinking about using it once it comes out, this might be the option for you, especially if they don't touch the recoil at all. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap it up here. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, nothing but skills out.